for us. I thank the Secretary General for his remark and his personal engagement toward peace and stability in the region. And we echo your call for dialogue and for ending the fighting. I also thank USG DiCarlo and Director General Grossi for their briefings. Madam President, Israel's attack against Iran is an unprovoked and unjustified act. It constitutes a flagrant violation of the Charter of the United Nations. This is an attack on nuclear facilities under IAEA safeguard. If these guarantees, and even the presence on the ground of international inspectors cannot guarantee the protection of such installations, then the credibility of the entire nuclear non-proliferation regime is called into question. If those entrusted with upholding this regime are unable or unwilling to condemn and denounce such violations, they must ask themselves, what is their purpose? And are they truly fulfilling their responsibilities? We must resist any attempt to justify what in essence is an act of aggression against a sovereign member state of the United Nations. Any misleading narrative is unacceptable. As Director General Grossi stated in an interview with CNN, we, the IEA, did not have any proof of a systematic effort to move into a nuclear weapon, end of quote. These words merit our full attention. Madam President, it is imperative that everyone returns to a path of reason. Negotiation between the E3, the European three, and Iran. Negotiation between US and Iran with the facilitation of Oman remain a viable and a constructive option available for diplomacy. Algeria has always believed in the power of dialogue, and we echo the call of the Secretary General in this regard. Even in time of heightening tension, mediation and Charter's principle remain our unique, viable tools. Let me quote the Charter. All members shall settle their international dispute by peaceful means, end of quote. Madam President, international humanitarian law is clear. Nuclear power plant enjoy specific protection and shall not be made the object of attack. Attacks against such facilities are prohibited. if there remains a risk of radioactive material spreading from the impacted facilities, the potential danger extends well beyond borders, endangering civilian populations across the region. For my country, Algeria, there can be no double standard, no double standards when it comes to respecting international humanitarian law. Civilian and civilian infrastructure must be protected everywhere and under all circumstances. We have consistently warned against violation of international humanitarian law, notably in Gaza, where tragically violating IHL became the norm. Today, the same patterns of conduct are being repeated and repeated again. When we reiterate in the strongest term our condemnation of all violation of international humanitarian law, the protection of civilians is not optional. It is an obligation. Upholding international humanitarian law is a matter of preserving our shared humanity. However, those responsible for the collapse of the health system in Gaza, for the killing of 1,580 health workers, for the killing of over 18,000 children and more than 10,000 women, for the killing of 225 journalists, and for the killing of 467 humanitarian workers, cannot credibly claim to be upholding international humanitarian law. Madam President, no measures can substitute for the responsibility that rests with this Council. In 1981, following the Israeli attack on Iraq, remember, this very Council unanimously adopted Resolution 487. It's true, this resolution was never really implemented. And Israel's nuclear facilities were never placed under IAEA safeguards. And Iraq never received any compensation. And the Council, this very Council, was never properly informed of follow-up measures. This is to show that the legacy of impunity, the legacy of immunity, has dangerous consequences. What we are witnessing today is not simply an isolated act of aggression. It is a profound challenge to the very foundations of the international legal order. The Security Council must fulfill its mandate. Acts that threaten international peace and security demand an adequate response. Inaction should not and cannot be an option. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Algeria for his statement, and I give the floor now to the representative of the Republic of Korea.
Thank you, Madam President. At the outset, let me express my gratitude to Guyana for swiftly convening today's meeting at this critical juncture. I thank the Secretary General for his important statement and compelling message. I also appreciate USGT Carlo and IAEA